The Stranger Things universe, a world of monsters, friendship, and the fight between darkness and light, has always captivated millions. But now, the real-life world behind the Netflix phenomenon faces its own storm. As the show's fifth and final season gears up for release, the red carpet premiere in Los Angeles should have been a night of celebration. Instead, it became overshadowed by a viral report, one that claimed Millie Bobby Brown, the face of the series, had accused her longtime co-star David Harbour of harassment and bullying. What really happened? And how did the Duffer Brothers and Shawn Levy respond as questions swirled around one of Netflix's biggest shows? Let's break down the full story, the truth, the reactions, and what's next for the Stranger Things family. It was Thursday night in Los Angeles. Flashbulbs, screaming fans, and the familiar red and black backdrop of Stranger Things Season 5. The cast looked stunning. Cameras followed every smile. But beneath the glitz and glam, a question hung heavy in the air. Reporters had already seen the Daily Mail article circulating for days, a report claiming Millie Bobby Brown had filed a bullying and harassment complaint against David Harbour before the final season began filming. Netflix, reportedly, had investigated the claims for months. And as the story spread, speculation turned into outrage. The alleged report claimed there were pages and pages of allegations, though importantly, no sexual impropriety was alleged. Still, the idea that two of the most beloved faces of Stranger Things, Eleven and Hopper, were at the center of a real-world feud was enough to send social media into meltdown. But as the cameras rolled, Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour stepped onto the carpet together. They smiled, they hugged, they posed side by side, and to many watching, it seemed like a deliberate message: we are fine. When The Hollywood Reporter caught up with the show's creators, Matt and Ross Duffer, the brothers were calm but clear. Ross Duffer spoke first, standing shoulder to shoulder with his brother. He said, "Obviously you understand I can't get into personal on-set matters," he said carefully, "but we've been doing this for 10 years with this cast, and at this point they're family. We deeply care about them. So, nothing matters more than having a set where everyone feels safe and happy." Their words didn't deny the story, but they didn't confirm it either. Instead, the Duffers framed it around something deeper: family. For a cast that has grown up together, literally from preteens to adults, the idea of a family dynamic has always been at the heart of Stranger Things. And that's exactly why the story struck so hard. A few steps down the carpet, Shawn Levy, the executive producer and director behind some of the show's most iconic episodes, was also approached by reporters. When asked directly about the bullying allegations and how production ensures safety and respect on set, Levy didn't hesitate. "At the end of the day, that's the job," he said. "You have to create a respectful workplace where everyone feels comfortable and safe, and we did everything to build that environment. We're proud of the fact that we did so." Then he added something more striking, a hint that perhaps not everything written online should be believed. He said, "I've read a bunch of stories, and they range from wildly inaccurate to there's so much noise around it. But the truth is that we view this crew and this cast as family, and that's always been bedrock." His words echoed the Duffers: respect, family, protection. It was a united front. But fans weren't done asking questions. According to the Daily Mail's report, Millie Bobby Brown, now 21 years old, had filed a claim of harassment and bullying against 50-year-old David Harbour before the start of Season 5 filming. The tabloid alleged that the claims were extensive, pages and pages of them, but again emphasized that no sexual misconduct was part of the accusations. Instead, the report suggested a pattern of intimidating or belittling behavior that made Brown uncomfortable on set. Netflix, according to the article, launched an internal investigation lasting several months. As a result, it was claimed that Brown was accompanied by a personal representative during the final season's shoot. The show wrapped filming in December, and no formal disciplinary actions were ever made public. Still, Netflix has not commented officially, and both Brown and Harbour have remained silent publicly on the issue. Fans of Stranger Things know how deep the bond between Eleven and Hopper runs on-screen. But off-screen, their relationship has long been described as almost parental. In a 2021 podcast appearance, David Harbour spoke lovingly about Millie. He said, "Millie and I have always had a special relationship. I knew her before all the big fame hit. I have a real protective feeling for her. I worry about her, about the fame, the attention, all that she's had to deal with." Those words painted a picture of care, mentorship, and concern. And even if that relationship became strained under the pressures of production, what's clear is that both actors have shared immense respect for each other's work. At the premiere, Brown and Harbour's easy smiles and warm interactions stood in contrast to the reports, a public image of unity, if not friendship. Still, fans couldn't help but wonder, was this damage control or the truth? This wasn't the first time Millie Bobby Brown had addressed the subject of bullying. In March, while promoting her Netflix movie, The Electric State, Millie posted a video addressing online trolls who had criticized her looks and personality. She said, "I started in this industry when I was 10 years old. I grew up in front of the world, and for some reason people can't seem to grow with me. Instead, they act like I'm supposed to stay frozen in time." She continued passionately, "This isn't journalism, this is bullying. The fact that adult writers are dissecting my face, my body, my choices, it's disturbing. I will not be shamed for how I look, how I dress, or how I present myself." Brown has been outspoken about protecting young actors from online abuse and about maintaining safe and supportive environments on set. That history made the new report hit harder. If true, it would mean a young woman who has spoken out against bullying found herself in the same situation behind the camera. The timing couldn't be worse for Netflix. The streaming giant is preparing for one of the biggest launches in its history, Stranger Things Season 5, the grand finale of a cultural phenomenon that began nearly a decade ago. The new season is being rolled out in 3 parts, Part 1 on November 26th, Part 2 on December 25th, and the feature-length finale on December 31st, hitting both Netflix and select theaters. This is supposed to be a celebration, but the viral controversy has cast a shadow on the marketing campaign. Sources say Netflix is actively steering journalists away from questions about the alleged bullying, trying to refocus attention on the story's conclusion, not its off-screen drama. For a series that built its reputation on nostalgia, friendship, and resilience, the irony is impossible to miss. At its core, the Stranger Things story, both on-screen and off, has always been about facing darkness together. Whether it's monsters from the upside down or personal challenges in the real world, this cast has grown up in front of millions and faced every kind of scrutiny imaginable. The Duffer Brothers' message was simple: keep the family safe. Shawn Levy's was direct: create respect and trust. And for Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour, time will tell if those words truly reflect the reality behind the smiles. As Stranger Things enters its final chapter, fans hope the real-life family behind it can find peace, even as the fictional world prepares for one last battle. What do you think? Were these reports exaggerated, or is there something deeper behind the Hollywood smiles? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more entertainment deep dives, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update on Stranger Things and beyond. Until next time, this is your reminder that every story has 2 sides, and sometimes the real drama happens when the cameras stop rolling.